All right. Hello. Welcome to the Online Selling Unlocked Masterclass, your go-to event for mastering e-commerce in 2025. This is designed to empower entrepreneurs and sellers. This masterclass provides actionable tips and from successful e-commerce experts to help you boost your sales, grow your profits, and transition to full-time online selling. I'm your host, Pauline Johnson, and today I'm thrilled to have Greg Perry, a seasoned e-commerce entrepreneur. Greg Perry has actively sold on eBay for more than a quarter of a century, beginning in 1999. His main selling account boasts of 11,000 in feedback ratings, all 100%, which I'm telling you is unheard of. A prolific author, Greg has written about 150 books, including several about eBay. He's a sought-after speaker at reselling conferences nationwide and runs a YouTube channel called The Ultra Advanced on eBay, where he shares expert tips to help sellers significantly increase their sales. I can honestly say that I'm one of the viewers. Greg is my eBay mentor. He's helped us grow our eBay business. And we've just grown our eBay business only by following his YouTube lessons and being part of his Facebook group. So I'm honored to have Greg here with us today. Thank you, Greg. And I'm just welcome to the show.
I am thrilled to be here. It's an honor. You're doing the service. I'm just here being honored by being in front of you. And I appreciate talking about my favorite subject, and that is eBay. And it's going to be a lot of fun, but I hope it's a lot of help for a lot of people.
Yes. Okay. So we're going to get started. And can you just share your story of how you started selling on eBay and why you chose the eBay platform to start with?
Okay. Well, I've always been a kind of a seller. My father was literally a traveling salesman, meant much of his career. And I grew up going around the neighborhood selling things, to Christmas cards and combs and all sorts of things, to all of back then there were housewives at every house, during the day. And I'd be home in the summer and I'd just go around and start selling stuff. I was 6 or 7 doing this. And so I've had that hustle in me. And I've been a computer guy since they first came out, the first Radio Shack computer decades ago, and really liked the technology. And so in 1997-ish or so, when eBay came on the scene, they were basically the only platform that was a reselling platform. There were some.
So eBay came out in 1997 and you started in 1999. So you've been there almost from the beginning.
Oh, absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, eBay. And so that was perfect for me. Computer guy, I love to sell things. Let's rock. And so sold my first item in 1999. The thing I shouldn't have sold, it was a framed limited sign lithograph worth maybe about $600, framed in glass. And I can't believe anybody bought it from me because I had 0 feedbacks, brand new seller. It showed been on the platform 1 week or something like that. Someone bought it. I think part of that was I just instinctively knew to take a lot of pictures, even back then, describe everything about it. I think it had the sense of honesty to it, because I'm saying, and there was one little mar on the wooden frame, one little mark, and I mentioned it and showed a close-up. And I think people, when you do that, I think people think there can't be anything else wrong because he or she's told us everything there is, obviously. And I think that develops trust. Even today, I think that's an important aspect to really sell more items. And so I had a good first experience, and I didn't know anything about shipping or something like that. I actually took it to the UPS store and paid them to frame it, to ship it safely. I wouldn't do that again today, but back then it was worth it, So that was my first foray into eBay, and I was hooked. And so for years, I would just sell items out of our home. We'd run across things. I was a book collector, trying to pare down my collections. So I sold several rare books, and 2 different people asked me to sell their huge rare book collections. A person in Texas, a friend, and a local friend whose husband passed away, and he left a huge library of books. So I got, during the 2003 to 2008, I was selling tons of rare books, and that's where I really got my my experience on eBay, learning what worked, what didn't, and many things that worked then still work today. Kind of like, you tell everything, you show all the people are not there looking at your item, so they have to
You
try
see everything.
angle,
Yeah.
everything. And that's why that's so critical if you want to sell a lot of items.
Mm. Okay. So when you started and you started selling out all those books, do you have any challenges starting out? Like, did it all work out for you, or like, what was that journey like when you started?
Well, ignorance, which sometimes is a good thing because you don't know what you're getting into and you're selling before you even realize it. The thing about eBay is, and always has been, it's very easy to list something on eBay to sell. It's very easy to take a picture, write a title, and just throw it up there, put a price.
Mhm.
eBay is much easier than Walmart. And I like Walmart's reselling platform, but it's definitely easier than Amazon and
Mhm.
really easier than Etsy and some others. And so eBay, but that's the danger of eBay. It's a two-edged sword. eBay's really easy to list, really not so obvious to list properly. Now, one way you list property is read the help screens. Hardly anyone does that because you really don't have to take a picture and throw it up. You really don't have to. But if you do, you're going to learn so many more things. And if you start listening to people who are seasoned veterans, and I don't do very much well, Pauline, I do eBay pretty well. And so I've learned a lot. You asked if there are any challenges. I don't know if I should even say this, but I have what some people would consider an unfortunate challenge, a configuration problem. I was born with a grand total of 3 deformed fingers and 1 leg. And so I only mention that because someone said, why don't you ever say that? That's really critical for people to know. So they'll be encouraged. And so, okay, I don't really think about it, but certainly, and yet my wife has began to help me over the years as our eBay business has grown so big, but I do everything, basically all the pictures, all the sourcing, all the shipping, all the wrapping, everything.
Everything.
It has to be done. And
So,
so,
I because we just started the video, I don't think people would understand the gravity of what that means. As me being one of your students, or like, and understanding that you list hundreds of items a day, pictures you're taking. So it's just not like one or two, like you're doing huge volume. And then, and with that, like, and overcoming that challenge, and you're still doing that. So in that, there's no excuse for anyone watching this. There is no excuse now, like to get started doing eBay or any other thing. But
anything.
I don't think people understand. As we get through, you'll explain what you do on a daily basis, but I don't think people will got that. Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
even if you're bedridden, Pauline, technology today, you can have a cell phone and hire some neighbor teenager to go to garage sales and look for items, and they'll just say, what do you think about this? And you'll be on your cell phone and you'll say, yes, get that, and hire them to bring it back to you. And you can be bedridden and still find things. You can have a great business if you're bedridden. That's the great thing about today's technology.
Wow. That is astonishing. Thank you for sharing that. So this is my favorite because you share this all the time, and I know what one of your answers are going to be, but let's talk about success and what's working well. So what strategies or approaches have contributed most to your success on eBay? I know what you're going to say. The number one thing is, and I'm going to say it, list every day.
Every day. You've got to be consistent. Now, every day means I sure appreciate you're watching my videos. Obviously, it's so critical for the eBay algorithm. Why does eBay like sellers, the very few sellers who list every day? It's because you're on the platform every day. You're reading all the messages. You're hearing from buyers who might have a question. And if a buyer has a question about something they might want, and you wait a day or two, there are 1,000 other sellers trying to sell them the same thing. They don't wait. eBay wants you to be responsive. And the number one way eBay, I think, determines that appears to be if you're consistently listing an item, at least one item every day. Now, at least one. You said I list hundreds of items daily. I list tens of items a day, but take hundreds of pictures a day and ship 20 items a day, list 20 items a day. And that's a key. about the average number of items that you start listing every day, you will, in a month or 2 or 3, begin selling that many items a day. It's really an amazing phenomenon how this works. It can be 100 a day, and you'll eventually 2 or 3 months start selling 100 a day. And I think eBay loves active sellers, and the more active you are, the more sales eBay gives you. I often think, why don't I've got, and I have several eBay selling accounts, but in one I have probably 1,200 items listed right now. And I think, why don't one day come by? Why doesn't one day happen where I sell 300 items? Because I might sell 300 items over 5 days or 10. Why doesn't eBay? I think eBay properly limits us once we sell so many, because eBay has no idea if I can fulfill 300 items. They don't know. I don't list 300 items a day. I've never shipped 300 items a day. They don't know. But if I gradually show them that I'm right here listing, shipping, then they will let me grow, and I will grow with them. And you prove to yourself that you can handle the load. And eBay is, I hear eBay's dead, Pauline. eBay is the 9th or 10th largest selling platform online in the Americas, in Canada and North America. 9th or 10th every month. If you, let me say that again. The 9th or 10th most popular website every single month is consistently eBay. Now, you have to throw away 3 porn sites. Otherwise, eBay's like 15, 16, 17.
Yeah.
You should throw those away.
Yes.
And so, and not count them. But I hate to even mention that, but I don't want to overstate that it's the 9th or 10th most popular website in America, in North America. eBay is not dead. They're far from it. eBay is amazing. And buyers go there for new items, for used items, for auctions, for buy it now. Buyers go to eBay constantly now. They always have for 26 years. And so it's a very active community, and I love it. And I strongly encourage others to do the same.
Yeah, so that's how I want to make sure we don't gloss over that. Yeah. Buyers are on eBay for new items, used items, auctions. I could tell you from my experience, everyone, that I sell new items on eBay. And during the holidays, I was selling on Amazon, eBay, and Walmart. And eBay was up there with competing with my Walmart sales. So you can sell on all platforms, new, used, auction. There's a whole bunch of ways to sell on eBay. It's not just limited to reselling older items.
Correct. And their selling fees are so low compared to most other platforms. eBay doesn't have the sell-through rate as Amazon, and you're not paying 50-60% as a seller of every bit of income that you make. And eBay's so easy just to, we bought that a year ago and never used it, let's just sell it. And all over the world, people just are looking for that item, and they buy it, and it's gone, and you replace the stuff with income, and you have more space. It's a beautiful thing. I don't know, Pauline, even if you don't want to run a business, I don't know why more people just don't pay their utility bills with eBay every month. I mean, it's just,
have a goal for just to cover one bill. Unfortunately, in Canada and America, we have all this stuff. We have all this extra stuff that we don't need. We can just, sell it and, and just change it for cash.
That's right. And if you find out you do need it later, just buy it on eBay for a lot less than you would at, Walmart or something. It's great. I would encourage people, and I'm not bashing Amazon. I would encourage people, things that you normally buy from Amazon because, quote, it's so cheap, you're going to find Amazon is often not the lowest price.
No.
Often, because resellers just can't always afford to sell there. And even toothpaste, start buying it on eBay. If your family gets the same, you will almost for sure find it's less costly. You will start building a feedback rating as a buyer, which is the same as a seller.
Yeah.
You may have never sold anything and you've got 0 feedbacks on eBay. And what that means is buyers don't know to trust you. kind of like I was talking about when I first started.
Hmm.
But if you buy a bunch of things, sellers increase your feedback just as buyers do. It's all the same feedback. And so then if you buy toothpaste and stuff that you just need that you're going to find is less costly than Amazon,
Hmm.
then you will start building a feedback rating so that when you're ready to sell something, you might have 20 or 30 feedbacks and buyers go, oh, she's been around for a while. No problem.
Yeah.
I can trust that person.
Okay, perfect. That is actually excellent tip. That's I'm going to tell my husband that one because
Good.
I don't think we were doing that enough.
Yeah, you don't think about it.
We weren't using it for day-to-day stuff. We were like, okay, we might need some piece for our vacuum. Let's look for it. But the day-to-day stuff, we're you know what, we're going to take a look at that.
Good point.
Let's see, what else do I have? Okay, this just crossed my mind as we were talking. Wasn't on my list, but how do you keep your, like, for a new seller, and you're listing 10 items approximately a day or so forth. How do you keep your products organized? Like, what does that look like for you?
I tell you, from the very first item, you have got to have a system for inventory because you're going to start selling pretty soon and you're going to start adding more items and you're going to end up, before you blink, you're going to have 100 items for sale. Something's going to sell and you won't be able to find it. And that's the worst sin you can make. Amazon despises sellers who say they have something for sale and they can't find it and they can't. eBay despises. No other fault of a seller harms the platform as much as that, because buyers came and then you say, I don't really have it. And eBay will knock you down in the search algorithm if you cancel too many times because you just can't find an item. So from the start, have a place set aside on your first item, even just one shelf, empty it out, a cross shelf, and put your item there and label it. Put a little sticker on it. Use those F&SKU stickers from Amazon that you don't use anymore because you don't make any money. And so you put an F&SKU label that says 1A on that shelf. And then when you create your eBay listing, whatever item is on that shelf, there is a place on eBay called the SKU, and it's just a place you can put any note you want. No one will see it but you, and put 1A. And after you have 100 items and 5 shelves, or 1,000 items and 20 shelves, you will go straight to the right. So if you have a shelf that's like got 5, what do you call it? 5 shelves on one big unit. And so you label those 5-1, 5-2, 5-3. Always start with the lowest number on the bottom because you might add a shelf on top someday, and that way you can add a 5-6. And you always, now I list like say 20, sometimes 30 items a day consistently. The moment I list an item, I don't list the next one until I physically pick up this item and walk it to the place on that shelf that I said it would sit. Because too often I've not been able to find something. Now, I've never had to cancel. I've always torn the house up. But you're going to find, once you're organized like that, you actually can hold a whole lot more items because it's a dedicated area, dedicated shelf, a dedicated shelf unit, and then a dedicated 2 or 3 shelves. And you can put them anywhere in your home. You can put one in your office, and if you don't have room for another, put it somewhere else in the house that you just have a spare wall. And it can be shelf 2 and shelf 3 as you grow. And the moment you list an item and you've said in your inventory, on your listing where it is, I want you to take that item and walk it there. You will never regret always being able to find every single item you ever sell. You'll only regret not being able to do that.
I'll tell you, we don't have a proper system. I'm gonna admit it. We put everything on the shelves. We don't have the numbering process. And we have to get to that. We do have to.
It's hard. It's not an obvious thing for most people who start. It's not obvious, but now you're without excuse.
So yeah, that's a few great tips right there. 1, list every day. At the beginning, you talked about taking a lot of pictures, all the angles of the picture, and then we talked about system for inventory is needed. So those are really some good tips for starting your eBay business. To know what you need to get off the ground running. Those are 3 really good solid tips to do.
And always make sure your pictures are square.
Okay.
there's a setting on all cell phones and most digital cameras that allows you to do 1-to-1, which means the same width as height. So you make square pictures. And for eBay, you need to do that. And once you set that on a cell phone, it will remember it until you change it back. So then you go to your family and you want to take pictures, you just change it back to 16:8 or whatever. But if you don't, eBay expects square pictures. Most sellers don't. And so I should have brought one. I have an example of just so common on a cell phone, because your cell phone screens are usually portrait, usually taller than they are wide, but eBay assumes your picture's square, even though most sellers don't do square. eBay says do square pictures, most don't. You will find, I saw on a WrestleMania figure recently where his head and his feet weren't able to be seen because eBay has to square every picture to fit their whole, to make sure it works on a phone as well. And as long as you take your picture in a square mode, you, as opposed to everyone trying to sell against you, all your pictures will be in frame, be in focus. People will be able to see what they're buying. And always on eBay, do square pictures, always. And don't just crop it. I really want you to take a square picture from the start.
Okay. So are there any specific product categories or niches that you focus on that work well for you, or
I have a couple that I kind of default to, but before I answer those, I try to be an everything seller, because and that is good and bad. It's all pro. If there was one way to sell on eBay, we would all do the one way. So some people focus just on selling jeans and they make a huge business. And unlike me, they get to have the same shipping supply for every item they sell. So
right,
easy. All that same, their inventory system is easier than if you sell one big item and one small item. But an everything seller has other advantages. For one, it's not too boring, it's interesting. Number two, when anybody goes to eBay to look for something, I want to be in that search somewhere.
Right.
I want every buyer to somehow see me in the search. That means I have to have a wide variety of items. Now, it takes a lot of knowledge. You're always learning. You're always trying. For instance, little trinket boxes that you see at garage sales. You just walk by well, if you're a man, you just walk right by these things. Little porcelain, little trinket box types of things with a little lid for jewelry or little things like that. Those sell great. And I would have never known that had I not started researching what sells on eBay. A lot of you ladies know those people like those things. We just give us a paper sack. So we'll keep So I've started selling a lot of things like that. And that kind of led me to a lot of home item decor items that that are very hot on eBay. People really like to go to eBay for mid-century modern items from the 50s and 60s, lamps, furniture. Well, you probably don't want to do furniture on eBay. You can, but you probably shouldn't. But just all sorts of wall decorations and things like that. People love right now mid-century modern art or modern things. But I also sell a lot of books. As I said, I was a rare book collector, sold 2 huge rare book I know a lot about books. And so I naturally always go straight to the books whenever I see them for sale somewhere and look for ones that might sell. Now, there are some rules of thumb. If it's a very popular book, like a very popular Stephen King novel, it probably isn't worth selling because there were millions made.
Yes.
But if it's a little novel, I live in Oklahoma, and we have you'll find often small press like a university press run of a certain Cherokee Indian chief who lived in the 1800s, or something about Native Americans from our 5 civilized tribes here in Oklahoma. And those there might have been 100 of those books published. Oh, that's what I want. Because there are so in books you don't look for the most popular books. You look for small print runs, and condition is everything. But condition's everything anytime you sell something. You have to price it down. If there's a nick or a crack, well, if it's a glass item or porcelain item and there's a crack, it's probably not sellable, and that's extremely valuable. If it's chipped, It's not as bad as a crack. You'll still have to price it down, show good pictures. Little chips aren't as negative as a crack. But so condition is just like real estate, location is everything. With eBay items that are used, pre-owned, pre-loved, as eBay said, you want to make sure that they're in as good of condition as possible, or you have to price accordingly. They'll still sell, you know.
Okay. And then, so what are some of the common mistakes that you see other eBay sellers doing, and how can a new seller avoid them? What are some of the common things that you see?
Okay. I see two things that are pretty serious that seriously affect your sales, and it surprises newcomers. One is you should always turn on a little box option when you list something that says, I will listen to offers. I will let people send me offers. It is shocking how many people these days know to do that, and they just want a little discount. You know, some people will lowball you, and this is why sellers, well, I don't want to mess with a $1 offer when I'm selling a $100 item. Well, I do, and there are reasons for this. One, they're just trying to see, maybe they might really want it. They just want to know where I am. And if you do allow offers on every item you sell, and you should, you will have to come down some. You can't just ignore, you can't just deny all offers at that point. You have to accept something, but you also have the ability to counter offer. And so, and this is the great thing about, first of all, most sales you're just going to make. Someone will just offer you 90% of your asking price. Yeah, I'll take that. Thank you very much for putting money in my hand. Some people get offers like the first day and they don't want to take them. Well, I would rather sell something the first day than the 20th day. So it's all the same to me. I'm going to consider offers. eBay does something whenever an item starts getting an offer, and I say it's in play. If someone offers you $1 for a $100 item, I will counter that person 90 or whatever I want for the item, and then the person might come back and say, "How about 25?" And I'll counter at 89. I won't go down much, especially if it hasn't been up for long. You know, I'm reasonable, but they're trying to feel me out. Often what happens when you're doing that back and forth is the item sells out from under the person doing the offer. It sells at full price. Why does that happen? It's because eBay will start boosting items in the search rank if there's an offer going on. eBay doesn't know why. It doesn't care. If something is of interest, eBay starts giving it a little love. Maybe it's a sports person. Maybe someone on the Miami Dolphins, I don't know, set a new record and their jersey starts selling. eBay doesn't connect news to that jersey. eBay says, well, his jersey is selling all of a sudden. Let's boost this. There's some reason why people are interested. And the same works for even an item that only one person is interested in. eBay will see this action and will help it a little bit in the search. So always accept offers and don't be offended by offers. Go back and forth, stick to your guns. If you don't go too low, but be reasonable. There's a second thing that I see newcomers sort of hesitate to do. And there is a certain way that you can promote your items called promoted listings. And what that is, sort of like pay-per-click, if you're familiar with pay-per-click. If you're not, don't worry about it. But if you are, eBay says, give me a percent that you want to promote this item on. And it starts at 2% and goes up as high as you want. And if you click yes and choose 2% or 3%, what that means is you are going to pay eBay an extra 2 or 3% if the item sells. If someone has clicked that listing that has that promotional pay-per-click fee and that person buys it, then you owe eBay a little extra 2 or 3% or more if you want. But in order to have helped you, because they will raise that in the search engine some or a lot, because most sellers don't do any. Now, if someone just clicks, unlike pay-per-click traditional, you don't pay anything. You only pay if someone clicks the listing with a promotional listing and buys it within 8 days or something like that.
Okay.
Now, most sellers don't do any. The sellers that do, most do the bare minimum of 2%. That's the lowest you can promote. that if this item sells through this pay-per-click promotion, then you have to pay eBay an extra 2% in selling fees. Now, I say, therefore, all of you should start off with 2.1%. You're bribing eBay, put me a little bit higher in the search over all these guys that don't really want to be doing this anyway. I just want to be a little higher, and eBay will. Now, your item will not, you can do 10%. Your item will not always appear at the top because eBay has to randomly give even bad sellers.
Yeah.
Some search engine left. They randomly do that because if bad sellers didn't get sales once in a while, there'd be hardly any sellers on eBay.
Right.
But they learn that way. And eBay starts, eBay will always allow someone to make a sell eventually because that's what they have to do. And hopefully those people will learn better and better methods like from you and I. But it's so easy, Pauline. This is the big takeaway. It's so easy to sell better than 95% of all eBay sellers. It's so easy. We've already solved it. The square pictures list at least one item every single day, accept offers, do an ample picture so the buyer has no mystery. We'll wonder what's on the back of that stereo. Maybe there's a huge crack or something. And so we've solved it already. If you just listen to this, I promise you're better than 95%
of the other sellers.
Because eBay's so easy just to not do anything right. It's so easy. Unlike Amazon that has strict rules for everything. That's the beauty of eBay. Hey, it's your item. You can sell it however you want. If you want to, I don't know, Pauline, if you've done bundles I used to be a full-time Amazon seller. If you've done bundles, there are strict rules. There
are strict rules. I do bundles on the Canadian side, not of course we've heard on the US side there's no more bundles. But yeah, it's very strict. Very strict. Yeah.
I used to sell on eBay, on Amazon Canada as well. And your first item, it has to be branded a certain way.
Yeah.
And you can't put like weird items together. Amazon doesn't like that. Yeah. On eBay, you can sell a pair of jeans and a bottle of mouthwash in the same listing.
Same thing. You can do it.
Knock yourself out. eBay doesn't care. And so it's just so easy to be sloppy and messy that if you just take a little time to improve some of the things we've talked about, your sales will dramatically increase dramatically, as you have found out.
Yes. From just by doing the listing every day. For me, that's done wonders for to do that.
Yes.
And I think one thing that you taught me too was when there's a day I'll create a whole bunch of listings, but I will save them in draft. So you don't have to be like there's some days I know that I cannot sit and do it, but I have 20 in drafts and I'll just take one of them and then list it for the day to make sure I'm doing my listing. But I have a draft day where I'm just like putting them all in there like that. That's my process.
Perfect.
Yeah.
It's better to list one item every day for 7 days than 7 items in one day. But if you've got time to do 7 items, create 7 listings, list one and put the others in draft. You can also now free of charge, at least in eBay America, I think in Canada, eBay no longer charges you to schedule a listing. So you can create 7 and make them all list each of the next 6 days. You don't even have to be there to list them.
I'm going to look that up.
They'll just, every listing that you create, you will see scheduled listing. You schedule something. It'll be one of the options. And that's even better. Although you should be on the platform, you should be looking at email.
In there, But if you need to,
But that takes care of that. It makes it so easy. Listing one item every day sounds hard to people who aren't used to doing that. It's not. And I tell you, do you really want a super duper tip?
Yes.
It's one no one likes to hear. Especially if you're just trying to pay a few bills and eBay's a hobby. I strongly suggest that you, on your handling time, whenever you sell something, you have to tell eBay, how long will it be before I get to shipping this out? So there's the shipping time between Montreal and Toronto. Yeah. And then there's the handling time. How long does it take you to get it wrapped?
Pack it and send it.
Take it. And you have to tell eBay your handling time. Will I do it in 3? Will I get this to the post office in 3 days, 2 days, 1 day, same day? I strongly suggest you start putting at the most 1 day handling time on every listing. And that sounds terrible. What does that mean? Well, if someone buys it today, you've got to ship it tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Or same day handling time. If someone buys it today, you've got to ship it today. Well, who has time to do that? Well, here's the dirty little secret that good eBay sellers know. You can control the cutoff time. So you can say at 5 a.m., if someone buys something at 5:01, I don't have to ship it today.
Right.
Tomorrow. And so it's not as bad as it sounds to have same day shipping. And what eBay does, they greatly boost you in the search. I mean, they want their buyers to be thrilled with every experience, obviously. And so they will plaster shipping same day, and they will start saying average handling time, 6 hours, or 1 day or something like that. And so but it's not as bad as you think, because it's only if you wake up and someone in the middle of the night bought it, do you ship it same day. But it's same weekday. So if someone buys it on a Friday after 5 a.m., I don't have to ship it until Monday. I have all day Monday to ship it. So do you. If there's a holiday on Friday or Monday, you've got 4 days to ship. You said same day shipping. 4 days. So it's far less than it sounds, and it will greatly. Now, maybe you don't want to start off with same day shipping. If you list your first item, make sure you can handle it to 2 or 3 day shipping, just to get used to where do we get a box for this and stuff like that. But once you get going, I think you should try it. You can always change it back, but I think you should try and never miss a shipping deadline ever. That's another sin, not as bad as canceling because you can't find it. But eBay doesn't like it when you miss your shipping deadlines. You've made a promise. Stick to your word. I'm going to ship this in 2 days. I promise. Okay, well then do it. It's just common sense.
Yeah. Okay, I have 2 other questions. I didn't list them earlier, but it just came up now. Could you talk about what a day in the life of Greg as an eBay seller? And then my second question, which it just came up only because I saw it in the news this week, what you know about, or what you understand about eBay's new relationship with Facebook Marketplace, and how does it benefit sellers? Like, what's your take on it? But the first is, what's a day to life look like for you as an eBay seller? Okay. Just so our listeners can have an understanding. Good.
And keep in mind, I'm very active. So my day won't be the same as a hobby seller.
Yeah. But, no, it's for a person who wants to do this full time. Yes.
So you know what to expect.
Yes.
In general. Okay. Yeah. I get up, get out of bed, drag a comb across my head, and then I go straight to my email to see if any potential buyers ask me questions, because I want to answer them immediately. eBay loves sellers who answer questions fast, and I want to be there first thing in the morning. And I'll check email my messages throughout the day, and if I get a message, I'm going to answer. If I like to I like to see them come in, because if I see a buyer just ask something, a potential buyer, I will immediately answer, and I'll say, sorry we took so long to answer, but, and then I'll answer the question. And they always write back and say, it took you 20 seconds to answer. What are you talking about? But they love they love it whenever they get answers to something. So buyer questions, complaints, you always need to know about complaints, because you need to make sure they don't turn into bad feedback, and fix everything. And so I handle the urgent first. The second thing I want to do is shipping for the day. Everything that's going out, I want to start shipping, because that's the bottleneck. You do not miss a shipping deadline. So I do that early. Now, I don't want to do it early, but I do it early, because if I have a problem with the label printer, if eBay's down, if my Wi-Fi's gone out for whatever reason, I have to find an answer. I have to go to a library to do it or something. And that's never happened.
And I've learned that from you. The earlier you can deal with the problem, the better. So you take care of your shipping just in case something's gone wrong. Yes. I do the same thing. But I do that because you taught me to do that.
Well, good for you. Good for you. And your buyers are so happy. And if you ever have a problem, you've got time to deal with it.
Yes.
Even if I although this I don't do, but even if I don't get around to listing an item that day because of all these problems, I get the shipping done.
Mhm.
So anyway, that's the next thing that I do after putting out fires with messages. And then I start listing. Now, used to, I would have to go, depending on the time of year, I really love buying at garage sales. I really do. Now, if you're an Amazon reseller, you don't like that because you want the nice, clean, sexy things in wrap and just retail arbitrage. And that's so much easier, and you don't have to know much about it. You just look at prices and you make so much less. And so you do that. But I like to go to yard sales and garage sales and boot sales because that's where the really cheap items are, like ultra cheap. The only thing is you've got to know a little more, but you really don't have to know what something's worth. I talked about trinket boxes earlier. You can just look on eBay and say, what did this thing sell for? You can take a picture on eBay and it'll tell you what it's sold for in the last 3 months. So you know right away, is this likely to sell? Is it likely to make me $100 or not? And so you don't have to know, but the more you know about what things are worth, like cute little trinket boxes, the more you know, then the faster you will be. You'll just start picking them up. You won't be looking up every item anymore, the more you know. So increase that Rolodex in your mind of knowledge, over time, and you will. You sell things, you're going to learn what sells, what doesn't sell. You're going to learn clothing items that sell and don't sell, and all sorts of things like that. So the typical day in the summers or spring would be, and in Tulsa, I live in Tulsa, Oklahoma, the center of America, and our weather's pretty good about 8 months of the year, and we have sales about 8 months of the year, garage sales and things. So I will 2 or 3 times a week, usually Friday, Saturday, and maybe a little bit on Sunday after church, go to some garage sales. Also, my wife has learned how to source at thrift stores, Goodwill, although Goodwill's probably the worst because the prices are so high. They're expensive. Yeah. But you'll still make money. You just have to know, you have to look more. Salvation Army, the second worst, but better than Goodwill. And there's always a sale day. Whenever you know the days of the week, they have veteran sales.
Year's Day, they have, they always have something like that.
Always have something. You want to go on sale days that apply to you. And so, and then you look at unknown thrift stores, like just people that just open one and they're not part of this huge Goodwill network. Yeah. That's the third best place. The fourth best would probably be, church sales, rummage sales, and then garage sales and yard sales and boot sales. That's where the great, that's where you pay pennies and make a lot of dollars. So it's worth learning more about those types. It's worth going to something if you're used to being a retail arbitrage, going to Walgreens and reselling things you buy there on Amazon. It's worth going to a yard sale and say, well, let me see, this is used, but it might sell. And you look it up, and eBay makes it real easy to see if it will sell. There's really no excuse to lose money on eBay. You really should always know if something's going to sell or not.
Yeah.
And if you overestimated, you're still going to sell it for more than you paid for it at a sale like that. I mean, you're not really going to lose money ever. You're only going to lose money if you lose the item and can't find it, or you break it, and you can't sell it. That's a loss, but no big, that's just part of the business. And once in a while you'll have, especially when you first start, you'll have some breakage when you ship items. You shouldn't, but you will. You'll learn
how to pack properly.
And I show you, and others show you how to do that on videos and things. And so you'll have some loss there, but in general, you really don't buy items and lose money on eBay. You just don't. The selling fees are so good. eBay loves its sellers. eBay's CEO said a couple or 3 or 4 years ago now, we are here for our sellers. Our sellers are here for the buyers. And that is so.
That is so like if you know Amazon, if you're an Amazon seller, you know that's not the philosophy.
Not guilty till proven innocent. And every night, and again, not trying to. I just want to be honest about Amazon.
Yes,
you can make a ton of money on Amazon. I think most who try don't, but you can if you hustle. Oh, it's gold. But I remember night after night, I would get some threat from Amazon. This buyer says this is a phony pair of Nikes, and they weren't. But Amazon assumes the buyer with they don't need to send pictures or anything.
But they're right. Yeah.
No evidence whatsoever. And you have to prove that they're not phony. Somehow it's impossible to prove a negative if you know logic, but you have to do it. With eBay, I sleep like a baby. I sleep like an e-baby every night. Not worried. eBay's got my back. If you have bad weather in your area and you cannot, because it's icy, you can't get to the post office up there in Canada, a lot of areas, hard to get to a post office every single day, I'm sure. eBay will constantly monitors weather all over everywhere they sell. And if there's bad weather, they will not, I'll say, put a strike against a seller that ships late if the weather was bad in his or her area. eBay just automatically removes all marks for late shipments.
Yes.
If weather is bad, you don't do a thing. They just do it.
They just do it. And then recently we had our postal strike in Canada. And the other platforms, Amazon, did not give you any leeway, but eBay said, hey, we're not going to take any complaints that come up during this time. We understand. We got you. We're going to wipe them out. We're not going to take any complaints during this time regarding shipping. And I was shocked. Proactively, they did that. Where the other platforms did not do that. They just said, hey, make sure you get your shipping in order. And that was it. But eBay said, no, we've got you. That was really good.
They got your back. So for newcomers, eBay is trying to help you. eBay wants you to succeed.
Mm-hmm. That's true. So your day is you start talking to your clients, you respond to the clients, you do your shipping,
listing.
You do your listing.
I've always extra.
And then a few Fridays, Saturdays, maybe Sundays after church, you do your garage sales, your thrift stores, unknown thrift stores, church rummage sales. And that's where we left off. That's your day-to-day. Yes.
Right. And we're talking a full-time business. And I work, really 4 hours a day, something like that. And that's really all I work on eBay. I'm doing my eBay channel on YouTube, but eBay's about it. And I'm thrilled the income's amazing and the cost is hardly anything. And the relaxation of being on eBay versus other platforms is so nice. And these are all the reasons I think you should try eBay. If you tried it at one time, try it again. In general, you should know auctions used to be the only way to sell on eBay. Now they're probably not the way for most things. Unless you have a very valuable, one-of-a-kind type of item, you probably want to sell buy it now. And so all of your listings are going to be, as I do every day, should this be buy it now or auction? It's almost always fixed price buy it now, almost always. I got to get pictures taken. So, and of course, pictures are a major part.
Yeah.
They're kind of a hassle. You need to get good lighting. The worst thing, the reason most pictures are bad is only because of the lighting, not because you need a better camera. Lighting is everything. Try to get a 3-light system. You can order them on Amazon or eBay. Photography, 3-light system, and it'll have a light from the top and from the two sides, and that's the perfect way to photograph a still object, like a KitchenAid mixer that you're selling. Perfect. Your lighting will be beautiful. Your pictures will be beautiful, and you'll go, I didn't know I was a photographer. If you ever watch a photographer, they're always messing with lights. We don't really pay attention. They know that's critical. So get good lights, and you're going to be a success. Now, what about this Facebook Marketplace integration? Well, first of all, that's about my day for eBay. About 4
that's
hours.
your day.
It's great. It's great. I'm always thinking about it. And throughout the evening, I'll check messages. I don't want to miss something from a buyer. But Facebook, so eBay and Facebook Marketplace just made a joint agreement that Facebook Marketplace will start putting eBay items on their platform. Now, if you've sold on Facebook Marketplace before, it's pretty neat, very low fees. Certain things, especially local sales that are too big to ship, it's been great, but it's a poor platform. it's a pretty sorry platform. And if there are problems, they don't really help in any way. They're just not there. I always thought they would grow that and maybe they should have become the #1 reselling platform on earth because they have the audience.
Yes.
But once they got set up, they never improved the system. Walmart's been kind of slow to really improve their system, to be honest. They need to get on the ball because they'd wipe out Amazon sell if they would just make it a little easier. But so Facebook Marketplace realized, I guess, after 7 years, we're never going to get around to this. Let's try to do a deal with eBay. And of course, eBay said, great. So now on Facebook anything you list, and you don't do anything differently. You just keep listing on eBay, and eBay will start giving those over to Facebook to list for you as well. And at least for now, if something sells on Facebook, you're not charged more or anything, and it will just transfer right back to eBay. So you see nothing different. You still do a shipping label on eBay. eBay says you sold it, but it actually sold on Facebook. Now, I haven't got one yet, a sale on Facebook Marketplace through eBay. I'm assuming eBay will tell you when you get one.
Where it came from.
Yeah, they're just rolling it out. It's very and eBay never rolls out something universally. They always do it in waves.
Yeah, because it's not in Canada yet. So I think it's US and Europe, I think. I don't think it's Canada. Yeah. Okay, because usually it's US and then Canada, and then Europe or Australia. So for whatever reason, maybe Facebook Marketplace in Canada is a little different, and I don't know. Yeah, but they will. It'll be there. It'll come soon. Yeah. Facebook wants it because they get a commission, and eBay wants it because they get more. They get a ton of eyeballs on it. Yeah.
So it's the greatest thing for an eBay seller. Do nothing differently, and you'll start selling on Facebook Marketplace as well. I list a few items on Facebook Marketplace, but I don't like to list the same things on Facebook as I do on eBay for a number of reasons. One, I might sell it on one place and forget to remove it from the other. Yeah. So, and there's software that can help you with that, but I don't want to pay for that. You know. So, and eBay's where it's at. eBay sells a lot more, for me at least, than Facebook. But I'm glad you brought it up. New eBayers should know you've got a huge audience of potential buyers, at least around the corner, if they're not there in your nation yet. Yeah. Okay, good. Thanks for that. Oh, this is fun. This is good. I know we're supplying a lot of knowledge to new sellers or even experienced sellers. We're giving you a lot of good tips, which I'm really happy about. Can you share, I guess, one memorable success story, or one milestone in your journey? Like, oh my gosh, this is, I hit this, or we did this in the business. Just something to, to inspire our listeners. Like, yeah, eBay's the path for me. I want to be like Greg. Okay. No, you tell us, what do you say? You tell us to be better. There's a way you tell us in the group. I'm not sure this is my original, but stop doing your best, Pauline. Don't do your best. Do my best. Yeah, your best. That's it. and don't list 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Do what I do. List 14 days a week and 440 days a year. Yes. Okay, but so what was your question? So yeah, a memorable success story or a big milestone that you've hit, just to inspire the group and say, okay, yeah, this is what he can do. Okay. Yeah, I've got one. Happened years ago, maybe 2008, and I started selling on consignment for people that I knew. And here's a huge tip for those of you who have neighbors. If they're elderly, they want to get rid of stuff, and they've got nicer stuff than all of your young friends. And so drop the information whenever you're talking to your neighbors. Oh, but I like to sell things for people on consignment, that gets rid of all their clutter, makes them a lot of money, allows me to get to know my neighbors better. And you will, if you may never go to a garage sale again or a thrift store again, because once we have a lot of neighbors on our street that are in their 80s. I mean, it's the perfect demographic for me to resell, because they all are thinking, we can't be in our homes any longer, much longer, that we've been in for 45 years or more. And I actually live on the same street, different house, same street that I grew up on. So I knew all these people decades ago They trust me there. You may not have that built-in trust, but it helps. But so a friend of mine, elderly friend, she had this book, and I mentioned Stephen King earlier. I don't even care for him very much, but she had this. I used to be a big Stephen King fan, but I'm not anymore. But anyway, she had this book that her husband had got. It was a signed, limited, numbered edition of a book that he in a box set, and there were only 100 of them ever published years ago. She said, "Can you sell this?" I said, "Oh yeah." I knew it was worth a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
It was a single digit number too. I think it was number 7 out of the
100.
The lower the number, the better.
Yeah.
And so because it's just even more valuable, So I listed that, and I said, and I was selling a few things for her.
Mm-hmm.
She said, "Try to sell this." I said, "Oh, I can." I said, "Hang on to your socks." Now, this was a one of a kind item. I said earlier, really about the only time you want to do an auction is when you have something that you cannot really determine a good price for. You want to let the whole world bid on it. And for a lot of things with true value, it will sell for its actual value.
Mm-hmm.
But the world bids on something. So I started it. Now, back then you could start bids, auctions at 1 cent. I think they're now 99 cents, 1 cent. So I listed it and called her up, and I said, "Your item's for sale." She was used to looking at my listing. She looked, she said, "A penny?" "Don't worry." And she said, "What are you doing? What if it sells for a penny?" I said, "It won't." She said, "What if?" And then she did a double take, and she said, "Wait a minute. It says $22. It had, as she was looking and complaining,
people were bidding
$22. That book sold for over $11,000.
What?
I know, blow me away. So now, if you don't think you can find a book like that, Janie, my wife, helped clean out my parents' cabinet right down the street where I grew up.
Mm-hmm.
They're old. They were older. They both passed away since then, but they needed to have their house kind of sorted through and cleaned up, and it was time to start paring down things that and she found a Kool-Aid package. Now, used to, they would sell Kool-Aid, and only there was a competitor to Kool-Aid called Rootin' Tootin' Raspberry, and it was a little 10-cent back then package, and you just buy a package, and the kids would get whatever flavors they want, and mom would buy 40 cents, 4 packs, take them home and make from the 60s. And she found one of mine from when I was growing up. I was really young, or I assume it was mine, maybe not. Maybe it was before I came along. They just had this one single 10-cent pack of Kool-Aid, and Janie brought it home because she knows eBay.
Yeah.
She didn't know if it's worth anything. And she said, "Why do you think about this?" I said, "I don't know, but eBay always tells us." So I looked on eBay. Oh, it was selling $20, $30, $50 or more, $200 or more, depending on the condition. So I listed it, and a week later, and this was an auction. I don't want to encourage auctions too much, but on these really weird things.
Mm-hmm.
A week later, it is sold for over $100. It's funny. That was when Janie said, "Maybe I should be helping you." Yeah, thank you. I need the help. And she's been really good about now learning all this stuff. She doesn't list or anything, but she helps me get items.
Identify items and stuff. Yeah.
So
that's great.
Both of those, remember, $100 sale and an $11,000 sale are both equally important to my past as an eBayer.
Okay. Wow. That's really good. That's a really good story there. There's 2 good tips. Like, everybody, you have cash lying around and you just don't know it.
Yeah. Cash and too much stuff. I mean, that's our story. That's everyone's story.
Yes.
You need cash and you got too much stuff.
Okay. Well, we've been on for a while now. This has been absolutely wonderful. It's been but I wanted to know if you could share, if you have any other tips you want to share with anybody, and more about if you could share about your YouTube channel and your Facebook group, so people could hear about what you do there. That'll be great.
Okay. My only goal with my YouTube channel, it's all free, of course. You don't have to join anything. There's a matching Facebook group, but really the YouTube channel is where all the information is. They're both free, and you can just subscribe to my channel if you want, watch a few videos. But my only goal is to help eBay sellers sell more. And I use my 26 years, my quarter of a century experience, 'cause I'm an old guy, I use my quarter of a century experience, and I've learned a lot about eBay over the years. And I guess being a writer and author, when I see something that I do, sometimes I don't even realize I've done this for years, but it's really saved me a lot of time or made me a lot of money on eBay. Some little thing that I don't really think about, and I'll be doing, I'll think, wait a minute, my group on Facebook needs to, on YouTube needs to see this will save them money too. And so my only goal is to make videos that improve your sales on eBay. That's all it is. It's just little tips. Now I have, it's called Ultra Advanced on eBay. eBay has a trademark deal where you can't use the word eBay in a YouTube title unless you say on eBay. So you're doing something on eBay. I don't know what. Anyway, so I wanted to say Ultra Advanced eBay Guy, GYE, but they wouldn't let me. So, okay, Ultra Advanced on eBay. And it sounds like it's really advanced. It does offer very advanced tips because you won't find this stuff anywhere.
You will not.
I sold, I ran a reselling group on eBay for 4 years, and I created over 1,000 videos, and it was for a lot of people paid a lot of money, and all of that got taken from me. The co-owner just sold it all like it was his, and I'm out. And so, so I'm just doing it free now. But I have a lot of experience, and I'm glad about that group in one way because it taught me a lot about how to convey things.
Yeah,
I think you will learn a lot, and it's all by you can just search by if you want to know how to write better titles that get your items sold more. There's one on how to do a title, and there are videos for beginners, for newcomers to eBay, and there are a lot of videos for once you've been trying to sell for a while, how can you get better? And that's really where the sweet spot is on that channel. How to do things that you'll never hear elsewhere. I'm not bragging.
It's guys listening, I sell on eBay, and Greg is who I've learned from. Only Greg. I'm not. We are wrapping up our business. We have 2 eBay stores, and we've learned everything from Greg. I get my husband to watch the videos, or he's a silent watcher, but I'm more of the talkative one. But we've got 2 stores. Everything we've learned is from Greg. The tips, how to be consistent when things pop up, and say, oh, we need to look at it that way. And one thing that Greg does not tell you is that in his day-to-day, when he says that he responds to client inquiries right away, if you send Greg an inquiry on Facebook, he responds right away. I've never seen that with anybody else. He answers your questions. Honestly, if he doesn't know the answer, he'll get someone else. He'll find me another Canadian that's selling to answer my question. But if you want to learn how to start on eBay, or if you're an eBay seller and you want to grow your business, you need to be watching Greg's videos and join his YouTube channel and subscribe.
Well, I appreciate that, and I'm blown away that I've helped you so much. Just blown away. I mean, wow. You mean this stuff really works? No, but I appreciate that, Pauline. I appreciate your telling me that.
Yeah,
it means a lot.
Yeah, no, it really works when you follow. And I just started with just listing every day. I'm telling everybody, like, when you do that, and I have it on my calendar, and I do it, and it's just get into that system. Until you'll start to see it. I think the term that you called it was energizing your account.
Yes.
And it worked. Like, we just, and I want to ramp up more, like listing more. But it's just that's what's happened, and both accounts are selling. Yeah.
I'm so pleased to hear that. So pleased. I appreciate you. This has been great. This
has been absolutely great. Yeah. So, like, everybody, I thank you for listening. You'll get under this video, you'll see the link to Greg's YouTube channel, his Facebook group. And if you are a VIP squad member, you will get access to the transcript for this call. So this video, and you'll get all the notes. Okay. And I'll be making a summary of all the takeaways for you to get started. You'll get that as well. But okay. Greg, I'm honored, and I'm so thankful that you just agreed to do this interview today. And this is amazing. Thank you so much. And I just want to thank you. Thank you so much for doing this call.
Let's just keep selling more and more every day. Yeah, a lot of sales cure a lot of problems.
Yes. Okay. So everybody, we're signing off, and I'll see you in the next video.